fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
What's up, everyone? Hybrid Tour Reviews here, and today we are taking a look at an awesome new Black Series figure. Today I have Quinlan Vos as he appears in Star Wars The Clone Wars. He appears in one episode of Season 3 of The Clone Wars and allegedly was going to have a big, important role in the original Season 7 before the show got canceled. They made a book about it. Doesn't really matter. Disney will decanonize it the second that it conflicts with their next new idea. So Quinlan Vos looks exactly how he did in Season 3 of The Clone Wars. It's a very, very good adaptation of a character that was very predominant in Legends. He had varying comic appearances, but they Clone Wars-ized him a little bit, and I do genuinely like how he looks. So let's go ahead, take a look at the figure, and see if this is a guy that you need to be putting on your shelf. And here's Quinlan Vos in the packaging. Let's take a brief look at it. It is your standard Black Series packaging with a big window showing him and his accessories off nicely. You have your Black Series logo, number 22 in the Clone Wars lineup, Quinlan Vos. Once more, Star Wars The Clone Wars in yellow. Warning 4+ Hasbro. This side of the box features some really cool art of Quinlan holding his lit lightsaber. This side features wraparound window, wraparound stripe, and a Black Series logo down below. Around back, Black Series logo. A bio of Quinlan in varying languages. Pause and read whichever language best applies to you. They even went with a book story for him. Maybe they aren't planning on kicking that story to the curb just yet. And then you have a zoom in of that side art looking really cool. Number 22 in the lineup. There's a legal stuff, Disney, Hasbro, barcode, more legal stuff, and a hanger tab up top. Very standard Hasbro action figure box stuff. So with all that said, let's open this guy up and see what you're getting here. So here's Quinlan Vos out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and start by taking a quick look at his accessories. So, being a Jedi, he does come with his legendary green lightsaber. The green on the blade is a very, very nice, vibrant green. It's a touch darker than some of the recent green lightsabers, though. The green lightsabers that they gave Sabine and Ezra for the first wave of the Ahsoka series figures had a very light-catching translucency to them. This is a little bit more of like a candy green, and it's still a good color, but those really caught the light and had an iridescent nature to them, whereas this one just looks green, and so I don't dislike it, but I just really wish that Hasbro would have stuck with that shade. Looking at the hilt, something I cannot stand is the unpainted silver. This is in that metallic-y silver, swirly, twirly plastic. Now, this is not as egregious as some have been, I will say. I did not realize this was unpainted until I got it in hand. But then going back and looking at all the promo photos, it is how it appeared in the promo photos. So it's less egregious than, for instance, Savage Opress or Peridia Ezra or the yet-to-be-talked-about Jedi Master Dooku. But I still would prefer it to be painted. However, it is sculpted very nice, and they painted the black sections and the red button. You see the peg on the side for belt storage. It's just, why cut corners, Hasbro? You've been able to paint them for 13 years. Figures are more expensive than ever before. This is the time that you can say, yeah, we got a nickel for silver paint. But I digress. It is sculpted very, very nicely. It's a very long lightsaber hilt. Just to compare it to someone else's, here is a Mace Windu lightsaber, a very large hilt in its own regard. And as you see, it is like a hilt and a half. This is accurate to the Clone Wars, where Quinlan Vos, his lightsaber, I always think about it in like sword terms. You've got like 1.5-hand swords, 2-handed swords. Quinlan's is like a 3-handed sword. He can hold it at the top and the bottom and have enough room for a whole hand in between. So it's just an interesting thing going on. Removing the blade, it does unpeg, like so. Setting that aside, he comes with a swooshing green lightsaber blade, and that is really cool. This is actually the first green one of these we've gotten in the line. We've gotten a couple of blues and a couple of reds at this point, but this, when you have them kind of like in an action pose, makes it look like there's a motion blur going on. It's nice to get this in green. It is in that same kind of like candy green color that the other one is in. And yeah, it is just a really cool option. That was the whole gimmick with this wave of fan channel figures. They were like, look, swoosh blades, and I'll take them. It's a nice accessory. As mentioned, it pegs onto his belt for storage. Removing that and just standing Quinlan up. Set the saber aside completely. Let's take a look at Master Vos. Or is he just a knight? He might not be a master. I don't know. Quinlan is like his own entity. He is like a beast in his own right. But look at that likeness. Now, we don't have a live-action guy for Quinlan Vos, so they are just adapting, the animated look, which was then inspired by many a comic book before it. So he's a little bit generic-looking in the face, but I like the 5 o'clock shadow going on. The yellow, is it a tattoo? It's got to be a tattoo, right? It can't be war paint. It's got to be a tattoo. He's got that tattoo going across the bridge of his nose. And everything that I just think about from the character from that one episode of Clone Wars that we saw him in, I feel like is translated really well here. He's got the really cool long dreadlocks going on. He's got whatever that little tie-off ribbon thing in the one is there, spinning it around. They are grown out to shoulder length and then chopped there. It is a good look. He has some of that Clone Wars Jedi armor going on. Just, every Jedi for the first 3 seasons had to have the shoulder armor. And then, or the upper chest armor. And then he's got the one shoulder pad with this kind of star logo. I don't know if that's referencing something, but it's there. He's rocking the sleeveless look, and then he's got the bicep tattoo there, and look at those biceps. Bro is shredded. He has those forearm wraps, and then they go on to the palm wraps. He's wearing them in a fingerless glove configuration. Something interesting, the wraps are actually a forearm swivel, It's just really, really cool. I never would have guessed that. Working down, he's wearing a yellow Jedi tunic with a orangish brown belt, nice green belt buckle on it. Got a little pouch on the back, a little pouch on the front. He's got the darker brown inner robe, the gray pants, the kind of grayish brown boots. They got the kind of yellow sole on them, and just a really, really cool, really clean, really nice adaptation of the character. Again, not a lot of screen time. He's more of a book guy, but they're basing this off of the brief screen time, which was inspired by the book time, and I feel like they did a good job here. So to run through some articulation, gotta say, this guy's got some really fun articulation. I'll point out the unique bits when we get to him. He does have the standard double ball neck system, allowing him to look that far up, that far down, side to side, and all the pivot you could want in there, as well as just all the range. You can come up to a T-pose. There's a nice deep butterfly joint in there. His one shoulder pad is like the good Stormtrooper armor ones, where they are on a ring on a peg in the joint, so it's not going to get in the way. He can 360 at the shoulders. There we go. It's a little snug, but it can 360 at the shoulders with the single jointed elbows and go way past 90. Swivel at the elbow. He has that forearm swivel at the wrap. Ball jointed wrists. Wicked good range on the ball jointed wrists. Always love to see that. He has that mid torso ball joint. Allows him to crunch side and that far forward and a little bit back. And of course he can twist. But then when you lift up the soft goods, you actually see in there, he has a swivel at the waist as well. And that is interesting. He's got a double ball waist system going on. So it kind of makes bro look snatched under all the overlays, but the overlays are beefing him up a bit. His legs can kick straight forward and go a little bit back. They can do almost a perfect split. As you may have noticed, there is a thigh swivel in there, so either they reused older thighs or they're bringing that back, so maybe people could quit screaming and crying and freaking out over that after 3 years. He's got the single jointed knees that can go to 90 and then swivel at the knee. While he has the interesting forearm wrap rotation, he does not have a boot cut. We've been seeing a lot of boot cut lately, but not here. And then the feet can point straight down, really far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to place Quinlan Vos on his feet in very wide stances with both feet flat on the ground, which is a perk on a modern figure. So here's Quinlan with a bunch of related characters. In the one episode of Clone Wars we see him in, he teams up with Obi-Wan, who apparently is a childhood friend of his, to track down Zero the Hutt, who has been freed by Cad Bane. Zero the Hutt would be a figure I would love to get in the Black Series, by the way, Hasbro, if you're listening. And then in the deleted storyline turned book, apparently Quinlan Vos likes goth girls. Me too, brother. And he catches feelings for Ventress while running on a mission with her, which is really cool. And I believe that Ventress would have been rocking the bounty hunter gear. I don't think that she was pictured in a different outfit on that book cover, but I don't know how to read, so I never really looked at it that much. But it's an option, so here he is with some related characters. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the new Quinlan Vos? I love this figure. This guy is incredibly sick, between the just modern articulation really shining, the really good likeness on it, just the sculpt work, the deep cut elbows, everything being deep cut and butterfly jointed, and there's just so much cool stuff going on with this Quinlan Vos character. The character, I don't care about Legends. I don't care about anything that's not Disney canon. I was able to let go of that in 2014. But it was a really cool Clone Wars arc, and it seems like they're running with the Dark Disciple book being canon, which is cool. And, so he's a character that I don't know much of outside of those 20 minutes of Clone Wars he was in. But he was really cool in those 20 minutes of Clone Wars. And when I was a kid, all you had to do was be cool in one 20-minute episode of Clone Wars to get a 375 action figure. So him coming to the Black Series is really kind of scratching an itch that, he's a little bit more obscure, in my opinion, and I'm just really glad to finally be getting him. I think this figure came out awesome. I think if you have the most passive interest in this character, you should be putting him on your Clone Wars shelf. And I know there are people that love the Legends that are like, what about that Dark Horse comic book that he did this one insane Power Ranger movement? Well, fine. Buy him for that reason. Point being, we have a Quinlan Vos in the Black Series. This is something everyone should be celebrating. So I highly recommend him. I think that this is a good pickup, and he's a good pickup that you should go and make. So that's my ruling. I'm going to go work on something else now. May the Force be with each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to me ramble for about 12 minutes on this guy. I'm going to go get another video done. So see you next time. Peace.